get the process rolling. So I guess at 1:03, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we can step through introductions. We'll go ahead and start and introduce our team. And I'm Josh Pope. I'm Technical Services Director. And Sue, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, this is Hansu No and PAC Modeling Administrator. Thank you.
Great. Caroline?
Yeah, Miss Caroline from PAC. I'm a research analyst and I mainly do the population stuff.
Great. Thanks, Caroline. Elissa, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Elisa Hamblin. I'm the zoning administrator from the city of Tucson in Planning and Development Services.
Thanks, Elisa. It's good to see you. Dean.
Tucson Water Department, Planning and Engineering, Project Manager.
Great. It's good to see you. Steve.
Hey, Josh. Steve Cheslock, Town of Marana, Planning Manager.
Great. Thanks for joining. Let's get the county folks. Anthony.
Yeah, my name's Anthony Batchelder. I work in Pima County Finance Budget Department, overseeing tax assembly.
Great. And Tracy?
Tracy Gutheim, Operations Manager for Pima County Development Services.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Dylan. Introduce yourself. Muted right now. Dylan with the town of Sahuarita is maybe having some technical difficulties. We'll circle back around. Malini, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks. Malini Sims, Principal Planner from the town of Oro Valley.
Great. Thanks for joining us. And we have Patricia that just joined in. We're doing introductions. Do you want to introduce yourself? You just went back to mute.
Hear me? Oh.
Yes, now we can.
Okay, sorry about that. There's something going on here. But this is Patricia Pablo. I'm with the Tohono Nation as a grant writer supervisor for the Planning and Economic Development Department.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Dylan, were you able to get your audio video working out? You're muted in this platform. Okay, we'll move on, and then we have George. George needs no introduction.
Yeah.
But, see you.
Hi, Josh. I'm George Hammond, Director of the Economic and Business Research Center at the University of Arizona.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Did I leave anyone out?
Jim.
Jim, of course. I'm sorry, Jim. Thank you.
Jim Chen, State Demographer with the Arizona Office of Economic Opportunity.
Thanks for joining us. And with that, I think we can move into agenda item 2, the in-kind form. I'm going to read this to you. Regional planning efforts are enhanced by recording time donated by attendees, volunteers, and participants. PAG collects data on the time dedicated to meetings and activities to apply for use as matching funds for grants and federal dollars. If you are paid with federal dollars, please let us know now. Time spent in preparation for this meeting will be estimated by PAG staff who are knowledgeable of the agenda and meeting materials. At the conclusion of this meeting, the session report will automatically calculate your time spent in this meeting. Time spent working on PAG RTA initiatives, programs, and special projects may also be eligible for consideration for matching funds. So, with no one informing us you're funded with federal funds, we'll take care of the rest. Thank you. Agenda item 3. July 1st, 2022, county population estimates. So, jump in to that, Caroline. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining the PopTech meeting. According to the agenda, so we are talking about the population estimate, county level. let's see. Good. Okay, just some basic background that I want to just do some revision. Why we do the population estimate? Because it's too expensive to do the census every year. So we only have census every 10 years. In between those 10 years, we do the population estimate. And we have several different programs to do the population estimate. We have one set of estimate from AOEO, which Dr. Chen, that he is the state demographer. He produced one set of estimate. And then the Census Bureau also have the estimate program. They will have another set of estimate. And the American Community Survey, that's a completely different methodology using sample, and will have another set of estimate. So sometimes you see that what is the population of Tucson or what is the population of Pima County? It could come up with 3 different numbers because there are 3 different programs and different methodologies. But just that you are aware that it could be something different. But usually in PAC, we go by AOEO's number. So basically we will talk about population. We have 2 categories. One is the household population, one is the group population. That is 2 major parts to compose the total population. I'll try to get the next slide. Okay, so we will use the population for because all the state agency will use the AOEO population. And this, what we are talking about, will mainly discuss AOEO, the population estimate. And the numbers we're going to use different programs academically or for a lot of business company, they will use the population for different use. And the number from AOEO is used for the state agency and for the county, the expenditure limitation. That means how much you can spend the money. What is the budget? What's the limitation of the money that you can spend? And then also, usually, in the, generally speaking, the county total, we use it as a control total to estimate the sub-county population. That is the mostly what we AOEO done. This time for 2022, there's something different. And in the past, usually we have AOEO would use the composite method to calculate, to estimate the household population. But because of, I think, Dr. Chen can, fill in the gap if I didn't explain good enough. If you have a question, probably you can ask Dr. Chen, but it's right here. Because one of the age group that is a driving license input data to estimate for age 18 to 64. That age group is a huge, big chunk of population, and the data is not reliable, and Dr. Chen is not comfortable to use those numbers for the estimate at this moment. So because the deadline is approaching, there's only about a month that we have to, Dr. Chen had to publish the population. So he come up with 3 alternative methods that possible use for 2022 population estimate for household population. These 3 methods, it just come up. It is using the housing unit method. Basically, these 3 methods, basically, they're all the concept is housing unit method, and to estimate the sub-county population, and then bottom up to add up together to the county, and then you get the state total. And the first option, it is just purely used all the housing data that I collect from you, and then I turn around to give to the Dr. Chen. That is all the completion numbers and the demolition numbers that we get the net change of the housing unit. So we use that net change of housing unit to add to the population base. So for option A, the population base is the census 2020, April 1st, 2020 population. That is the housing unit as the base. And then you add the extra house net change between April 2020 to June 2022. Within these 2 years, 3 months, this period of time, what is net change of the housing unit, and then convert it to population, household population, to add to the total household population in July 2022. So that is option A. Purely use the 2020 census as the base to add those change within these 2 years and 3 months. So option B is kind of similar to what option A, but using the last year, 2021, the control factor, which is slightly different from option A. Option A, the control factor is 1. That means no matter what's the numbers you come up from the housing unit, we add together, become the county total, and then the state total, so that you don't have to change. The control factor is 1, that you don't make adjustment. But option B is using last year control factor, which is every county is slightly different. And for Pima County, it's slightly a little bit over 1. So that means come up the number different from option A is slightly higher than option A because the control factor is a little bit higher. So that is what so far what we get for option B. So for option C is similar to option A. We also use the control factor as 1 as a control factor, but instead of using 2020 since April 2020 census as the base, we use 21 population estimate that year, last year, July, that year as the base. And just add the extra 12 months different. That means from July 21 to June 2022, these 12 months, what is housing unit different? Then you times the person per household to estimate what is the population different to add on last year 2021 population estimate. So that is how we got the option C. So right now, Dr. Cheng actually come up those numbers, and I know that he's working later last night. And so we come up some numbers, and I spent several hours this morning to look at it. I'm still review those numbers. So we kind of want to discuss with the jurisdiction later on, and we will share those final numbers, or we share the method, more detailed method with you, with the jurisdiction later on. But at this moment, we just want to tell you that so far for county level population estimate, Dr. Chen is using different method instead of normal composite method, and the method will be bottom down to estimate the sub-county population and then add to the county to add to the state. And those numbers we are still under review, and we're still checking those numbers. So we will share with you guys. And if you have any question, I don't know if Dr. Cheng want to have anything they want to have add to what I want to say. So that's why I want to just present the methodologies to you guys, what happened right now for 2022 population estimate. So, but we will not have particularly want to share the data with you at this moment because we are still looking at them. And also the housing unit method, we are not finalized the housing unit because we're still collecting, we try to still get the final number for the housing unit. So we don't get the numbers, really have the final numbers yet. So that's why we want to just share the method with you guys and not the numbers yet. So is there any questions, or if Dr. Chair have anything they want to talk about or want to fill in?
Thank you, Caroline. I think you described the method accurately and in some adequate detail. So I don't really have much to add. I just want to say you listed options A, B, and C. When I was looking at numbers, options B and C, they come up to be almost, they're very similar.
Very similar. Yeah. I spent several hours looking at your table, your files. Actually, I did.
Yeah. It's a lot of calculation. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for spending the time to look through, and hopefully we did not make egregious mistakes. But if you do find an error, let us know.
Well, so far I look at all those and everything look good, but because that's why I said because the housing unit is still we may going to, once I get the final number for the building permit, the completion number, so you probably have to redo some calculation because you may have to revise the calculation because the building permit data is not finalized.
Okay, yeah, I understand. You said you are still working with some jurisdictions and you give us the preliminary numbers.
Yeah.
And with those preliminary numbers, of course, the population estimates would be preliminary, but you don't have much time left to finalize. So I want to give you a shout out for working diligently on this. And there are people from jurisdictions, so I want to say that yeah, please do work with Caroline to finalize those numbers. They are important, and we're using them. And you heard Caroline say the Census Bureau also make population estimates. We actually will forward these numbers to the Census Bureau. So these are the basic input for population estimates. If you have had completions and you don't report, it's not good. So it's going to affect your state shared revenue and expenditure limitation, all those kind of things. And on the other, also, if you have demolitions, we do want you to report also. So don't hide those. So thank you for working with Caroline to get the data to us. And we are down to the final stretch, and we need to, hopefully by Thanksgiving, we're going to have close to finalize the numbers.
Well, I think I'll probably still need to discuss what method. You have option A, B, C. So probably finalize which option you're going to pick, right?
Yeah, I was hoping I could get some feedback, like from you, from other folks around the state.
Yeah, I want that too. Actually, I do. I prepared that too. Yes, I did.
So once I hear more from folks, I think I will have a better idea of what I'm most comfortable recommending. Right now, in my mind, I have a favorite, but I want to hear from people first before I make the recommendation.
Yeah,
and I would just like to jump in. We have a couple of new folks on PopTech, and just kind of get them up to speed on kind of this cycle and this pattern of what we do about this time of year. We're essentially reporting out information that was shared at the recent CTS meeting, and we were expecting to have some numbers to kind of talk through with you on account of part of what's being discussed right now, some delays. Those came late last night, and so in order to have them kind of QC'd and ready for, through our review process to kind of share with you, we don't have those right now. And so we're going to look to be sharing those. And Hinsu, it sounds like our deadline is next week, not the beginning of December, in order to share that back. Did you hear that correctly from Dr. Chang on these numbers? Because I was under the impression that we had an opportunity to meet early December to reconvene with this group, but it doesn't sound like that's an option right now.
But this is two different problems so far we have. Typically for those who never been in this process, and typically we first in the review and the county level. Then something like just a top-down approach. So first prepared in the county level and the estimates we discuss internally. After having those discussions, supposed to be today, and but after then, then later we develop and actually just AOE and develop and for sub-county and the population estimate and review together. That's usually happens around the December, early December, or just later November time period for those and the annual and the population estimate, which includes the county level and the sub-county level. But this time, and as just Caroline discussed, and this year, the methodology is actually bottom up due to that, just the unreliable data issue. The PAC also has some issues using that just ADOT and data and their system updated. So, but this time, as just using bottom up, and we also include sub-county populations in the estimates this year at this time. And those option A, B, C includes in the sub-county population. So those process might be kind of just a shorten, and but the timeline just county estimates and would like to just discuss, but the not sure just the exact just deadline for just the ADOT. And actually just this county level or sub-county level. So I think just those two should be just separated or just combined together. And how do you think just Jim Chang?
And the deadlines for AOEO, not ADOT, right?
Yeah, OEO.
Right.
We need to publish this by December the 15th.
Right.
And some of you may know this, many of you might not know this. It's actually another agency, Department of Economic Security.
Yes.
Their director actually signs this. They need a week to, well, they always say they need 2 weeks, but most of the time I can get them to go through the process in a week. But let's say give them 10 days. That means December 5th, I need to get this to them. So at their office, and then before that I need to have my management review and okay everything. So I really need to get things finalized by the end of November or the beginning of December. In past years, I may have allowed feedback as late as like December 1st, December 2nd. That's really pushing it. That's squeezing my timeline to be able to get the proper review with my supervisors and management. But I really want to get it done by the end of November, meaning I get this out of my door to these folks in management.
Yeah.
And of course, I will need a few days to do that. So in the ideal world, I don't want to tell you you can review this in December. That's really eating into my time to submit.
Okay. I'm just, yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Like we had this meeting scheduled for tomorrow or Thursday. I think so next year,
yeah,
and in future years, let's have a little more breathing room from the Monday. So let's not have it on a Monday or a Tuesday. That'll allow us to get our process down in order to share that with our team. I mean, that's on us, right? I'm just saying we need to get that sorted out.
I'll take responsibility because I sent this out at I think 2 minutes before midnight last night.
I got it. Yep, I reviewed at 3 a.m. I read your email. I read your file.
So we're in the process of stepping through that review, and that's why we're not talking about that. We're talking about schedules right now. So I think clearly we're not going to try to get a quorum with this group next week. I think we can target the 29th or the 30th to try to make that happen. following Thanksgiving, we can distribute this information via email Wednesday, Thursday of this week. I realize next week's a holiday week. Some people may be able to take the full week off. So we'll try to get this turned around by the end of day tomorrow and out to you all for your review, that we can then discuss that following Tuesday or Wednesday. Does that seem then with our ability to then share back with you on the 30th? I know it's a squeeze, but I was thinking we had like the 6th or the 7th to be able to do this.
Okay, so there is one more thing. Caroline was just saying there are the numbers that he gave me were preliminary, and there are some changes. So when do you think you can get those revisions to me?
So for those, and I can just try as soon as possible. Only just left is just the confirmation, and but the one in the agency, I think I cannot deliver. So we can just assume that as is. But the other agency, and we could get the confirmation and anytime soon. So we can, and also just revise the option ABC and our number based on those and new update, and we can discuss and sometime tomorrow, if that's actually and you are available.
Okay, good. Well, just we'll get the information, get them to me, get it to me, right away, and I will update these files. I think you can, in the meantime, you can review the files you received. If the methodology, the calculation is correct, and updating the data is will not take a lot of time. And then I'll send you the new file.
I look at all three files. Basically, yes, seems they're okay. I spend hours to look at those files.
Okay.
And basically, I want to confirm. Basically, we just need to look at the sub-county, and then because this is bottom up, and we don't really need to have two different process. In the past, we need to look at your composite method for county level, and then you look at the housing unit method for the sub-county. There's two process for review, but since right now this time we just review the sub-county, and it will sum up to county. So we don't really need to review county, right?
We don't have a separate county. When you sum up the sub-county, that's the county.
Yeah.
When you review, just I have the description of the method, and we have the calculation spreadsheets. Just kind of review the spreadsheet and see if I did what I said I would do, right? So that's the one thing that you can review. If that looks right, and that will be good, and then we can decide on one of the options. I can say I'm pretty much ruling out option A at this point. We'll probably not go with option A, but it's going to be between B and C. So that's my.
So then, is it okay to just share and only just with the option B and C with our jurisdictional partners?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, as long as if you agree with me that option A is not good for Pima, or I'm thinking we should focus on B and C.
Yeah, then maybe are you available sometime just tomorrow and Thursday, and then we can just discuss about that.
Tomorrow I have a medical appointment. I will be taking the entire day off. Thursday, yeah, I will be should be available.
Yeah, then
I have some meeting in the morning.
Yeah,
so we have some work to do to coordinate and finalize the numbers to the best of our ability to finalize some of those preliminary numbers. So Dr. Cheng has the best available information, and we'll get final review and share the information out with the members of POPTECH so they can see what we're talking about. And then I guess we'll look to have a meeting, shoot to have a meeting on the 29th and try to get that scheduled so that we can share, so we can have a discussion about it and share with you any feedback that we have in a somewhat timely manner. Does that sound like a good plan of attack?
Okay, yeah, that's okay. That's fine. We're talking
Okay.
about on the 29th. That's more of a formal thing, but before that,
Right.
you know,
There's
Caroline,
plenty of work to do. Yeah, exactly.
if you find anything, share back with me, and hopefully by that time we'll get everything finalized.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So should we move on to the next item, discussing timelines? It seems like we've been doing a lot of that.
Okay, so my
yeah,
turn, and
please jump in.
Krista, and can I have the control? Okay, thank you. Let me test. Okay, so we just talked about, and first, sorry about this, kind of just the glitches, and because of there are so many just uncertainty is happening right now, and regarding just the ADOT, just the new system, and not only for this population estimates and projection, but also our just the PAC and the air quality modeling side as well. But the here's the just
Hinsu, you keep saying ADOT.
ADOT, yes.
ADOT system for DMV?
Yes. Yeah, ADOT system, okay. And they have a new system. Okay. Whole system updated, and in terms of just the driver license and plus just the other vehicle registration. So those are actually, we have a lot of questions discussing longer than a year. So still kind of just some issues and lingering. So there might be the reason just that we have so many uncertainties nowadays.
Thank you.
Okay. So as discussed, and just talked about the PopTech and the timelines and area population estimates, projections, and for those of who never participated in this process, and usually population estimates annual product July 1st in the population estimates, and as you see here in the deadline in the box, December 15, 2022, which is actually county level, sub-county level, population estimate deadline for area. So, but we'll just discuss hopefully in around the end of November. And with that, just the updated number, including county level, as well as just sub-county level. Then just for and the second, fifth, and eighth year of a decade. So this year 2022, so second year of a decade. So we will have just the population projections in the box, in the middle one, in the December 31st and the 2022 is the deadline for just the 2022 Area County population projections. So if it's doable, and we'd like to just add the items, and at the time we discussed in the population estimates and sub-county population estimates. But if not, we will just reach out to you and trying to just have another just a short meeting about the county population projections. And then just for sub-county level population projection is 9 months after just the county population projection published. So our deadline is September 30, 2023. And typically, and granted by AOEO, and the PAC actually developed in the sub-county population projection, shared through PopTech and PopTech meeting. So any just a discussion relevant and discussed. So hoping to just this time and the same just procedure we'd like to have. So normal time, normally in the springtime is the sub-county population projection, the development happened.
So Hinsu, if we were to look to have a meeting on the 29th, is that sufficient? Are we going to have sufficient information regarding the projections at that time? Or we'll have to try to find another time to meet with this group prior? What sort of time frame are we looking at?
So I'm not sure. It's actually it depends on just the area, the timeline, and but it's actually better to just have another just the meeting. And so far we discussed at the CTS meeting yesterday. But maybe just Jim Chang. And do you have any thought, or just maybe if I just have anything, I just wrong?
For the county level population projections, we are, there are so many moving parts in there. We're not planning to produce draft estimates in the next couple of weeks. It's more, I think we're hearing all those pieces as they already hearing fertility, mortality rates, migration rates. In the end, we probably only have a couple of weeks to put everything together. We will be doing a lot of iterations just in-house. I'm not sure if we actually will have the draft estimate, the numbers to share with everyone before we publish. This is such a compressed period. But if that's necessary, we can aim for early December, the second week of December, try to produce some draft numbers and share with you. We did not think too much about this. We were just focused on getting the pieces right, getting the input right. And it's a pretty complex system.
Right. It was my understanding that in the past, we had to kind of shoehorn in some quick meetings like this in order to kind of get some eyes on and get a response. And we appreciated the opportunity to give you our feedback in that process. And so that's, I guess that was kind of an expectation that, we'd be able to kind of be able to see those numbers and have that dialogue and discussion with this group, and then share with you that input. But it sounds like that may be very challenging for you in this cycle.
Yeah, it will be challenging. I'll talk to Tara and try to be able to provide something for you to a draft for the group to take a look and provide feedback on.
Do you have a sense? I mean, it takes some logistics getting this many people with very full schedules to have multiple meetings in 3-week timeframes. Do you have a sense of when that data might be available for us so that we can look, because now we're going to be looking at trying to get 2 meetings in the next 3 weeks. That's going to be a bit of a task with it's always a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a sense when that data might be available?
I think I said the second week of December.
Okay.
But that's without consulting Tara. Let's see. The first week starts on a Thursday.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, what do you consider the second week? Is that the 5th or the 6th or the 12th?
Yeah.
First,
let's
second
say
full week. Yeah.
Let's say around the week of the 12th. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we would look to try to schedule a meeting on the 29th, 30th at the latest to review the estimates. We'll have those materials shared via email, and then we will look to schedule another meeting, let's say Wednesday, Thursday of the week of the 12th, so that there'd be sufficient time if you were to drop those on midnight on Monday for us to review and prep and get materials ready for the team to digest and share input so that you can then close that out by the 31st.
We actually have decided that we're going to publish it by the 23rd because last week, we are off. I'm not in office.
Right. Yeah, December is a tough time to get work done.
Yeah.
Understood.
and I will be actually out of the office, out of internet and then everything.
So if we were to try to get the group to find, time to focus in on the 14th, 15th, would that be sufficient?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I will put this on the calendar to push Tara to get some draft.
And I realize I kind of jumped into this agenda topic without kind of closing out the last one, because I was looking for the other shoe to drop with the projection. So I wanted to get that into the dialogue, but I didn't really solicit any input from the committee members. We all know that December into November is kind of a crunch, particularly when we have projections on the line as well. The previous agenda item where we talked about the 29th, does that seem viable in that we will prepare our review of those numbers and distribute those to you via email with as best of an orientation and instructions for you on what we're expecting of you. With that review, we would want to get that out in the next couple of days so that you would be prepared the 29th. Can we get, how does the committee feel about that? I realize we're kind of applying this pressure on you all, but kind of where we are.
I mean, it's a little hard to say when we haven't seen anything yet.
Right.
So I think obviously we're going to put the time in. We want to get it right.
Right.
But we don't know yet what we haven't seen.
Understood.
Caroline should be able to prepare something to send to committee members.
Yeah, I read over. Actually, I so far, I think your table, your file is pretty good. Actually, I have something on hand. I just need to management to review that. And
right, we have to finalize our QC process, and we'll get it out the door. Yeah. But yeah, Steve, you had unmuted yourself. Do you want to chime in?
I think if you're going to make that much effort, we can do the same thing, and I feel pretty good about the numbers anyways. We're pretty tight. So whatever it takes, Josh.
Okay. And hopefully that, in the meeting on the 29th is, not going to be whatever, it'll hopefully be fairly tight. And we'll get to incorporate your feedback and share that up. And
somebody will be there for Marana. For sure.
Okay.
Jane, are you planning to have a CTS meeting next Monday, 21st? Still have the CTS meeting? So probably we can work on some more during the CTS meeting. Talk about more about the projection and estimate. November 21st.
Yeah, Tara, we're not going to have much more on projections. Tara is off the next 3 days. Let's see.
Well, I'm thinking if we can get to finalize the building permit this couple of days, that means you can revise. That means you can work on the estimate again with the new number, new building permit number, and then you probably can have a new set of estimate in on 21st CTS meeting.
Yeah, I'll see, when you can give it to me, and I need to work with Meg on some things also. I think it might make more sense to have a meeting on the 28th, and then that's when we kind of finalize everything, unless your feedback is different, tells me to make changes. Otherwise, those can be the final numbers. Now I'm leaving it open to whether have it on the 21st or 28th.
Okay. So either one of the day, 21st or 28th, we have CTS.
Yeah, I will. We'll have a short meeting. We will have a meeting, and hopefully, Tara, on projections, we will have some progress to report as well.
So if we were able to meet on the 29th or maybe the 30th, if there's going to be meeting on the 28th, would you be able to incorporate any of that feedback?
Yeah.
Outside of
the
CTS? Okay.
Yeah, the CTS works a little differently. It's
Okay.
not a voting body, so it's not like on the 28th we're going to vote on final numbers,
Okay.
and I cannot do anything. It's more of me keeping everybody informed and hearing from members. And
Okay.
then if we likely will have settled on a method at that time, and if well, it's one of two method. If
Right.
If there is some feedback from this meeting, the PopTech PAC PopTech, and if there are some changes to the input data, I can easily make those changes and without going back to CTS, no problem. If it's a matter of making some changes to the input data.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll look to get that turned around. And then is the group generally about the review of the projections, which on the 14th or the 15th, with the expectation that those would be ready for review on the 12th, for us to digest and get to you for presentation and discussion on the 14th. Is the group generally comfortable with that? I'll take the silence as a yes. Dylan?
Yeah.
Hey.
Can I just clarify? You're talking about the 12th, 13th, and 14th of December, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So I know for myself, I'm not available the 12th or the 13th. So I would be out of town and then back in town on the 14th.
Okay. And I would want to give us a little bit of breathing room and not be in the situation we're in today. So 14th or 15th is when I would look to try to get that meeting scheduled with the group.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it would give me a short amount of time to look at it, but yeah.
Okay. Maybe the 15th then.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any concerns about that? Okay. Hinsu, do you have another? Thank you all for your flexibility, and this is always a crunch. We try to do what we can to eliminate it, but we always seem to face it. So thank you for Jim for all the work you're doing to get good numbers out there, and Caroline, helping coordinate everything on our end and getting it up. So we appreciate everyone's contribution throughout the year to make this happen. And here we are approaching the deadline. So Hinsu, do you have some other timelines that we are going to be looking at this year?
So the PopTech timeline and regarding just the population estimates projections, and this is all and as discussed, and quite just a crunching time, and also just a thank you all and the jurisdictional partners for your cooperation. And here's another kind of just the important date and available just the census data. And regarding just the 2020 census CQR, PCGQR, we discussed in the last meeting, and then just the final deadline for CQR, PCGQR submission is June 30, 2023. So, and after then, like just the Census Bureau will just provide the result to impact the governmental unit, and by the September 30, 2023. So still kind of just the open, and if you have any questions or just the concerns and regarding the data set we prepared and shared with you, and just feel free to reach out to us, and so we'd like to just discuss through just a one-on-one meeting about the CQR PCGQR submission.
And let's try to meet in January. Anybody that wants to meet or has any questions about what they are required to do in order to fulfill that. We tried to prepare the materials best of our ability, but there was a handoff. That handoff for us occurred a few months ago. We're going to be in a crunch next spring to deliver on the land use model TAZ sub-county population projections. So let's try not to start this conversation June 15th for the June 30th deadline. If we can, maybe connect in January. I was hoping to have this exercise completed because the next 6 months are going to be very stressful for our team. So if we can maybe try to target early in the year to go over any questions that you may have about what you're required to do to kind of finish this assignment, but it's something that we can't finish for you. We provide the analysis and the data that we did provide, but if you want to make any of these corrections, it has to come through you all. So maybe revisit those, that information that we shared, those presentations that we gave, and look to have a meeting January, February to kind of kick off any questions for your submittal.
Just
if you can do
curious,
that, that would be helpful for us. Thank you.
I'm just our curiosity. Is anyone planning to file CQR or PCGKR? I'm just curious that in any jurisdiction actually have been discussed about filing and the CQR. I'm just curious.
Okay, so moving on to your next slide, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe they need maybe revisit the information in those presentations, because we identified where there are some candidates that should likely be updated and revised through that process.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, thank you. And there are some just the products available, and so regarding just the 2020 census, and you can find in this presentation slides will be updated and later at the PAC website, and you can find this 2020 census quality metrics viewer regarding just how they collect, and there is just the percentage of unresolved addresses and or other just quality related information. In 2020 census urban area, and the maps of the shape files will be available in December 2022. So if you are interested in just having those in the data and the shape file, then you can just use that, just the link shown here. Then the 2020 census demographic file and the DHC demographic and housing characteristics files will be released in time in just May 2023. And also just the more detailed DHC demographic and the housing characteristics files available, and the first product, and including age by sex and the ethnic groups, will be released time in August 2023. And two other products, and including detailed household information and household information of the races and ethnicity groups, have no release date yet. So, but we will just post later when just each available. So I think those are all I have. And any just the questions or any if you have any questions, I am happy to answer the questions.
If you all don't know what we're talking about, give us a call, shoot us an email. We can share that information with you. If honestly, if it's not ringing a bell, we try to prepare those materials and share that information out in previous in August, and so that seems like ancient history. But that's what we prepared for you all to kind of take the next steps with. So we want to drop us a line. We can refresh. We can show you what the data is and is not showing in your area. We want to help to the degree that we can. We'd be happy to schedule a meeting with you individually. So don't hesitate to drop us a line, and then we can get something scheduled for beginning of the year. Is there next item? I think so. Does anybody have any questions about the items that we touched on today, or any concerns that you want to bring up, or exciting things you want to share? I know this is a little bit of a crunch time for us with this, and we have a big spring ahead to get the projections broken down, but we'll hopefully take you all through it with as little stress as possible. With that, I will adjourn the meeting at 1:59. We took the whole hour. Take care, everyone. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.